Good morning, one and all. Yes, it is us. We are back in the studio. After a one-week hiatus, I'm Brian Main. Good morning, John Begnasco, with his iPhone feeding back once again. Part of the show. Tiger Palafox is with us. We trust you've had a good couple of weeks. We are back, and we're thankful to be back in the studio. Tiger, thankful to have you. How you doing, John? You all right? Now, we should, first of all, John's tired.
The camera on John. He got in late last night.
I didn't get home until 1 o'clock.
He's very tired. You got, what, 3 hours sleep, if that?
4.
4 hours sleep.
4 hours.
When you're a party animal and you don't get in until 1 a.m.,
yeah,
we're
going to allow you to knock things over and, not quite be up to speed, as they say, for the first couple of minutes.
We had a flight delay in Bozeman, Montana. So it was an hour delay. So by the time we got to Vegas, our connecting flight left. So fortunately, there was one more flight
out of
Vegas, and we did make it home. But yeah, I only got 4 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And people that aren't from San Diego don't know. Also, San Diego has they close the airport at a certain time. Not all airports do this. So like people think like,
that's right. Yeah.
Why can't you just get the next flight into San Diego? Right. And it's because in San Diego,
Sometimes
because
it's the next day.
Yeah, in the city, they only allow planes to take off and land between certain hours.
Because the airport, most airports are out and away from the city, from urban dwelling. The airport here in San Diego is basically right downtown.
Yeah.
And the planes take off over houses, buildings, businesses.
So if John would have missed the last flight to San Diego, there wouldn't have been one till the next day. You're right. Yeah.
John, you're going to write a book, right? The Last Flight to San Diego. It's a great title, Tiger.
Well, we had a great time. We visited Yellowstone. We were in 3 states: Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. They all kind of join up over there, and we celebrated my grandson's birthday, my granddaughter's birthday, my daughter's birthday, our 50th wedding anniversary, my brother-in-law and sister's 46th wedding anniversary, and did I miss anything?
A lot of anniversaries and birthdays. Okay.
Anyway, we had a good time.
So your granddaughter is how old now?
12.
And the brother?
My brother?
Doesn't she have a brother? Your granddaughter?
Grandson.
My grandson.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Her brother is how old?
He's 6.
Okay. All right. That's
still dinosaurish, though.
Still dinosaurish?
Yeah, he knows every dinosaur in the world.
Well, when I was that age, I did too. It's amazing. There's something about dinosaurs and kids.
You know how when you wake up in the morning on Christmas, like everything would be decorated and there's Christmas decorations?
It's like Whoville.
He woke up in the morning and my daughter had decorated the entire cabin with dinosaurs.
What?
Like posters,
Really?
blow-up dinosaurs.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. And my brother, not my brother, my son, Joe, likes to go overboard doing things. So while Kyle was sleeping, or maybe it was early in the morning, he went outside, dug a hole, put his present in the hole,
so he can,
and then covered it with dirt, and then on top of that had a bone. And so Kyle got dressed up in his archaeologist outfit,
nice.
and with his hat, and he's out there
Jurassic Parking it.
Yeah, Jurassic Parking it, and then they're kind of showing him where to dig, and he digs and he finds the bone, which he thought was really cool.
Yeah. And
then he got his dinosaur presents.
Did you guys go to any of those places that have fossils and stuff while you're out there?
No. I'm sure there were those places.
Yeah. Boy, that's a big dinosaur area.
It is.
Montana, all the digging they do.
That's where they do all
Idaho,
that digging.
Montana.
We saw Old Faithful.
What?
Now,
right on time?
Was she faithful? Yep. Was she faithful? What, every 45 minutes? Is that when it...
I think it's like once an hour.
Once an hour?
Yeah.
On time. You can
we
set your clock to it.
We saw the Grand Prismatic. Yellowstone is gigantic. It's huge.
It's going to blow up soon, with the volcano in the ground.
Yeah.
Biggest volcano in the world.
I'm not sure about soon.
Well, soon could be 1,000 years.
Yeah, it's all relevant,
you know.
Was when Old Faithful goes, does it rumble? Does it like can you feel it before it happens?
No.
No,
it kind of spits a little bit, and while it's building up,
and then
it shoots up like 300 feet.
Yeah, it looked like way up there
for probably 50 seconds.
And is it loud then?
No.
No?
No.
I just feel like this
Tiger
thing,
wants loud.
I was gonna like whenever I see the videos of it, I just feel like it's like this like rumbling
Like a
in the
gushing
ground
of water.
and then all of a sudden like a jet engine.
Well, last time I was there was 51 years ago. And I felt like not much had really changed.
From Old Faithful
it
or
really
Yellowstone?
shouldn't, right? I mean,
No, from Old Faithful. I mean, well, you would think the area around it might be really built up, or it really wasn't.
when did it go from New Faithful to Old Faithful? There had to be a time when, you know what, this thing's been around for a long time. It's old.
Yeah.
It's Old
Well,
Faithful now.
Yeah, well, where is the New Faithful?
There's
If
gotta
it's
be,
the old one,
Yeah.
If it's the old one, where's the new one at?
I just want to know how faithful she really is. And I refer to her as she, coming from the earth.
Remember the song that you sing every year? Oh, come,
Oh,
ye
ye
to
faithful.
Old Faithful.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That was written in Yellowstone, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
At one time. We are a gardening show. We like to talk about various other things now and then. John is back from his 50 years of marriage. I'll bet it only seems like 49, right?
My wife planned the whole trip, too.
That's what you said.
So it
I'm going to
was-
use her as a travel
it
agent
was-
next
yeah.
time, Tiger.
Yeah. It was nice to just go along and not have to plan it because actually Tiger's planning this next trip, but we're going to be talking about that today.
We're going to be talking about
Going to Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, and we want you to sign up, those listening, those on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. We've got a guest from Collette with us today. That's going to be Jonathan, right, Tiger?
Yep. He's going to be joining us today to talk about our trip, give us some inside details about it and what people can expect.
Because I'm sure a lot of people who haven't been to Costa Rica have questions. What's it like? What are the landmarks? What about the scenery? And we can discuss that today. Maybe if somebody's contemplating after they hear the interview, they'll say, you know what? I'm going to go to Costa Rica with Garden America.
Yeah.
Carla in Huntington Beach wants to know what the weather was like up in Yellowstone. It could not have been any nicer.
Yeah.
Gina says
It was
the trip was
perfect.
perfect.
It was, and it kind of surprised me because we went to the Grand Tetons after that. Gina went home, but she drove through the Grand Tetons because she lives in Idaho.
Yeah,
right?
she's there. It's
Yeah.
like,
Still
not that
fu-
grand. Not that grand to her.
but it's still 5 hours away. But anyway, they went home, and we went to stay in another cabin in the Grand Tetons. And the weather was perfect there, low 70s, high 60s. But they're talking about, 2 weeks, going to snow.
And then it won't be. There won't be.
Yeah. I was.
A
If you
warm
look
day.
if you go to the stores, you'll see huge displays of puzzles. And there's puzzles
booked.
everywhere
What are we
because
going
Booked
to do
in
while we're
puzzles?
snowed in,
yeah,
right?
what do you do all winter? But so it's really nice. We only saw one bear. We saw bison.
Do they have bald eagles there?
They do have a lot of birds, but I didn't see any.
Yeah.
They had. I told you we did the lake. We took the pontoon boat,
Right.
spent the afternoon on the lake, and we had talked about doing a river raft in the Grand Tetons. They had it for 13 hours, and we probably would have seen a lot more animals, but by that time we were so tired and so worn out.
Yeah.
The last day of the trip, we didn't even go anywhere.
So if we want to go to Yellowstone, Wyoming, we just talked to the Bagnascos. How did
Yep.
you do it? Who did you contact?
Where'd
The
you
Airbnb?
stay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Airbnb, and it was nice. Like I told you, the place we stayed right on the lake. It had every amenity you could think of. 2 kitchens, 2 laundry rooms. I think it would hold. I think it slept 17 people
My
or 20
goodness.
people, something like that.
And who knows who these people are that own it, right? You don't see them or talk to them, right?
No,
They go through an
they-
agency,
The
realtor.
door's locked when you get there, and it's got a code on it. They tell you the code before you get there. You open the door, and that was
and then
it.
they change the code the next time somebody else stays there.
Boom.
That's how that works, Tiger.
It was
Okay,
kind
thank
of neat to see some of the landscaping, perennials around, wildflowers,
wildflowers.
meadows.
Everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get to the quote of the week, and then we'll take our first break. Get a hold of Jonathan from Collette Travel, talking about that trip to Costa Rica with Garden America, so pay close attention.
Yeah.
John's quotes and the newsletter this week revolve around Costa Rica, if you got the newsletter.
He's got a theme. He's got a theme
does.
he's working with. I like it.
A lot of thought went into this.
Yeah.
Well, the quote's from Larry Ellison, who has a lot of money.
Oracle?
And he said, And he's talking about Lanai, the island of Lanai in Hawaii. He said Lanai at one time grew 98% of the world's pineapples, but the world's pineapples are now grown in two places, Costa Rica and Panama, because no one wants to spend $45 for a pineapple from the United States.
How true. Okay, we're going to take our first break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, welcome. This is a recording of last week's show, so thank you for joining us. Those on Facebook Live, stay with us. We're going to have Jonathan from Collette with us after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. We are back from the break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live, we do appreciate you tuning in and listening to your garden buddies. I'm Brian Main, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox. We are going to be talking about Costa Rica today with our friend Jonathan from Collette Travel. We want you and you and you and the rest of you to join us April 20th through the 29th, I believe, in Costa Rica. Tiger?
Yeah, so this morning to talk in more detail about that trip, we have Jonathan Cerreta with Collette Travel. Jonathan was born and raised in Connecticut. We won't hold that against him, but he does something that's kind of interesting. Did you finish your Italian citizenship there, Jonathan, so you can retire in Italy when you're all done?
Hello, Jonathan.
Did we lose him?
I can barely hear. That must be a phone connection. Oh. Hey, Jonathan, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine.
There
Perfect.
we go. We're good. We're good. You know, persistence pays off, Tiger.
Yes, so I heard your question in regards to the Italian citizenship. Yes, over COVID, that was actually a project of mine. I actually became an Italian citizen and hope to retire there one day.
What does the Italian citizenship process look like? I mean, do they make you speak Italian? Is there some kind of cooking class involved?
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, I'm actually still working on my Italian. I'm not very well versed in it, but the process is actually that someone on your family line has to have come over to the United States before having their next of kin. In my situation, it was my great-grandfather who came over to New York in 1906 and then had my grandmother in 1928 before becoming a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1945. So according to Italian law, my grandmother is still considered to be an Italian citizen, and that descends through the family line.
Why does this sound? This sounds so mafia to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what is odd is that that's exactly what we were talking about on our trip. Because we've been looking into becoming Italian citizens.
Yeah, you can.
Because
right?
I can't, I believe from what Jonathan's saying through my mother, because she was born here in the U.S., but her parents were not naturalized citizens at the time.
Yeah.
So they were still Italian citizens. So we can do that. My son-in-law is interested in becoming an Italian citizen too. So
yeah. There you go, and all the benefits of having an Italian passport.
Well, the main benefit, from what I see, is being able to, when you're in Europe, to skip the
yeah, you can just travel more freely.
No, skip the customs lines.
Yeah,
and use the
citizen line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they don't, I mean, it's just like
European,
coming in the United States.
European Union ones are really quick. You can go right through.
We should check and see if Jonathan's still there.
Yep, still here. I mean, also the advantage is, you can own property and stay there for, in perpetuity without having to get a visa.
Yeah.
They still have those houses for $1. You can buy $1 for a home. You have to fix it up, I think.
Yeah. Hey, so fun stuff happening in Italy.
Yeah, right.
But our trip is not going to go to Italy this year. We're going to be going to Costa Rica, right, Jonathan? So,
Yes, you are going to beautiful tropical Costa Rica.
Exactly. You might want to double check that. A little confused there along the way. But Jonathan, there's a couple amazing things that are going to be happening on this trip that people really need to look forward to. And for people that haven't been on guided tours or vacations before, John was just talking about he just took a trip with his family and how his wife planned everything, and he just showed up and he just went, and how nice that was. Now, I feel for most people that is what they are also getting when they do something with Collette Travels, because they show up, you're going to be told where to be and when to be there. You can do things that you want to do, but
Right.
you can also say no to things and do your own thing. But there's no thought. You just get to go along for the ride. It makes for a more enjoyable trip. One of the first things that we're going to do on this trip is go visit a coffee plantation. Can you tell us what people can expect from doing something like that?
Sure. Well, in regards to what you were talking about Collette, just to give a little bit of history about the company, we're the oldest tour operator in North America. We've been around since 1918, so we know what we're doing, and we've developed all of these amazing curated tours, like you said, so they're very turnkey based, so we've taken all the logistics and planning on our end to make an amazing experience for you. And with the plantation you're referring to, it's one of your first stops on this tour. Coffee is very important to the economy of Costa Rica. It's their sixth largest export, and the Costa Rican coffee is regarded as some of the best in the world. It's highly curated and crafted from various roasts. And a little bit of the history of the Costa Rican coffee. It was actually first brought to the country in the late 18th century from Ethiopia and Cuba, and was started to be commercially processed in the early 1800s. So you're going to be actually taking a tour on one of these amazing ecological coffee plantations that focuses on crafting curated roasts in a sustainable manner. You're going to learn about the process from start to finish, tour the various plants around the area, and see how they craft the roasts from start to finish in a sustainable manner. Because Costa Rica is very ecologically focused, and they want to make sure that they have a minimal environmental impact in everything that they do. And that's going to be an overarching theme on this tour, is seeing the biodiversity, seeing how Costa Rica's economy is focused on these processes that are not only good for their economy, but are also sustainable for the environment as well. It's a full process from start to finish, probably about a half-day activity, and it's just a vast plantation where you'll be able to interact with the staff to see how the coffee is made from start to finish.
I'd like to interact with the coffee myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, supposedly I have heard from our guests that it's an amazing experience, and it really makes them appreciate our morning beverage a lot more when you see all the work and care that goes into it.
Now, Jonathan, you mentioned something about Costa Rica as a whole, and I do want to hit on this because the hotels that I see listed for this trip are absolutely amazing. Just gorgeous views, very great accommodations, but a lot of them are very eco-friendly, environmentally conscious locations as well, where the building materials for the hotel, the linens, everything that goes into it is in this whole sustainable, environmentally friendly thing. And in, like you said, like in Costa Rica, it's kind of like their lifestyle. They just kind of live that. So it's not so much like, oh, this is what we're doing, this is our focus. It's like everybody there does that, and it's a pretty neat environment to put yourself in to be able to see how people do things different. Hey, Jonathan, when we have to take a quick break, when we get back from the break, kind of a little bit later in the tour, we're going to go into the cloud forest. I'm going to talk about what people can expect when we're there.
Right, and if you have any questions, obviously those on Facebook Live, questions for Jonathan about the trip, now's your chance. So be sure to post that in the comments section. And those on Biz Talk Radio, you can't interact, but certainly you can listen to the message. And we're also inviting all of you with us to go to Costa Rica, April 2024. With that in mind, we are going to take a break. This is Garden America. Welcome back to the show. Those on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live, we hope you enjoyed your break. We always do. And today we're talking about our trip to Costa Rica in April 2024 with Jonathan from Collette Travel. And Tiger, we talked about the coffee plantation. You kind of set us up now with the rest of what we can expect.
Yeah, and so as we kind of move our way through Costa Rica, which, Jonathan, is kind of a neat trip because we're crossing a lot of terrain and we're seeing a lot of difference. We're starting off in a major city, going through the jungles, ending up on the beach. And, for people that don't know Costa Rica, it's very diverse in everything that they have. But now we're going to be heading into the cloud forest. And one of the key attributes of this part of the trip is that this is where people can split off and do different things, right? There's many options during this part of the trip.
Here at Collette, we try to offer variety in everything that we do with our tours. We're not like people think of tours. Sometimes they think of like old fuddy-duddy motor coaches where you're just on a bus taking photos. At Collette, we try to pride ourselves on getting people off of the bus and having variety on the touring and really be surrounded by the local culture and experiences that you're there for. You're not there to be driving around. You're there to be seeing and interacting with the places that you're going. And in keeping with this, we have what's called Choice on Tour. All of our tours offer Choice on Tour. It's a time in which we split the group up to do multiple activities, and they can go explore something and do something different than other people on the tour, and then they can come back and talk about who had the better day. And this isn't an exception to that. On this one, when you're in the Mount Verde Preserve, you have two choices. That day you can go either on the Hanging Bridges tour with a local guide, or you can zip line on one of the largest canopies in all of Costa Rica.
Yeah, and I mean, so you're in the jungle, and the Hanging Tour, Hanging Bridges is literally like a Swiss Family Robinson, George of the Jungle. Like you're up in the tree canopy on these bridges. Just it's almost as if you're walking on a trail, but you're in the sky and you're able to see what's above you, but you're able to see what's down below you, and it just gives you a different perspective. Pretty neat part of that tour for sure.
Definitely. Monteverde is one of the largest ecological preserves in Costa Rica. It's over 36,000 acres. And the reason why it's called a cloud forest is that it has the humidity level allows for very low-hanging clouds in the trees. So you look up these trees. Some of these trees are over 100 feet tall, and it's like you're literally walking through the clouds. There's a huge array of biodiversity in this preserve. There's over 400 species of birds, over 100 different species of mammals. You'll see jaguars, pumas. There's also a colorful endangered bird called the quetzal. It's a green and red bird that it's endangered, and this is its preserve here. Over 90% of this forest that you're going to be is still virgin forest, so it's totally untouched by man. And it was actually formed, this park was formed in the 50s by the Costa Rican government when they realized the biodiversity and how important it was. The two different tours, going back to the Choice on Tour, if you will first get there, you're going to go through a tour of the overall park with your guide before being offered the chance to do different opportunities. The Hanging Bridges tour also has a large butterfly garden that you're going to be touring, seeing the various orchids and over 30 species of different tropical butterflies that are going to be surrounding you. There are several pictures of our guests where butterflies have just, landed on their heads, on their noses, and they have the opportunity to take these photos with all these beautiful butterflies. If you decide to take the more thrilling route of the zipline canopy tour, you'll be able to soar through the trees in the rainforest on one of the largest zip lines in Costa Rica. you'll be able to see all the plants and animals as you're literally zip-lining through the various forests. So it's a pretty thrilling experience. And also, this is one of the few opportunities on this tour that if our guests want to do both, we offer them the opportunity for a small fee to be able to do the zip-line tour in addition to the Hanging Gardens tour.
You just answered, I think, Tanya's question.
Yeah.
On Facebook, she says,
She's ambitious.
do you have to choose only one of the activities, or is there an opportunity to do both? Such a hard decision.
Yeah, no, and you can do both, and it's good, and both of them are great. You know, some people might not be into the whole zip lining thing, so it's an easy choice for them. But I mean, if you've never done a zip line canopy tour before,
You have to. You know, when we were in Hawaii,
it's scary when you first leave.
You just have to make the leap.
Then you go, and you're going,
fun,
and you're like, this is the best thing ever.
The worst part is just prior to it.
Yeah.
But once you let go and go, you'll want to do it again and again.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Jonathan, that like, you know, because what you do is you zip line from like point A to point B and then point B to point C, and you're just making your way down. At the end, you're like, I want to go to A again.
Yeah.
I feel like I missed something. I want to go to A again.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Hey, Jonathan, let me go back quickly because you mentioned a lot of the activities. We're going to see this. We're going to see that. We're going to see jaguars and pumas. Well, just how are we going to see jaguars and pumas? What is the logistics? I picture, you know, walking through the jungle. Oh, there's one right there. But I don't think it's like that. How do we see those animals?
No, there's obviously safety protocols in place. When you're on, there are cordoned off areas of the preserve where you'll have the opportunity to see them. It's not like a zoo, but you're in their natural habitat, of course, so you'll be able to have the opportunity to see them if they decide to make themselves known. Obviously, these are large cats who are, you know, animals, predator animals, so they're going to try and hide, but you will have the opportunity if they do make themselves known. Your guide will point it out, but it's totally safe. And, you know, being on the hanging bridges, you'll have different vantage points where you'll be able to see into the distance, of course, over the bush and all the different brush, and be able to have the opportunity to see in the clearings and have the chance to see these wonderful animals.
You know, one of our listeners wants to know how far you have to climb to get to the zip line.
You know, I mean, sometimes it's a little bit of
a little bit sometimes
trip, right?
Well, all of our tours have an activity level of ranging from 1 to 4. The Costa Rica tour we classify as an activity level of 3. Oh. That means that you're an on-the-go traveler. You're comfortable walking and standing for longer periods of time, up to about 2 hours. It's moderate pacing with uneven terrain, but the park itself is very has been designed so people can move about easily. There are paved paths in the major areas, and to get to the zip line area, you're just going to be following a paved path. You're not going to be climbing up a mountain or doing anything strenuous. It's all taken care of by the guides, and it's in a very well-maintained area.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the last time I went to one in Costa Rica, and, you know, they're all different, but they took us in a kind of like a 4x4 vehicle that took us up this hill, right? And then they let us off, and then it was just a matter of walking up some steps up to the platform where we left from. So, you know, yeah, like you say, I don't think we have to climb the mountain and then go down. Right. It's like they'll get us to a certain point, then we might have to climb a little bit, but then it's all downhill from there. Now, you've been mentioning through your discussion right now, Jonathan, about a guide. What can people expect from a tour guide on one of these trips? You know, are they from the area? You know, what can we expect?
Well, again, as I said at the beginning, is that we pride ourselves on cultural immersion, about being one with the area that you're going to. And our tour managers and guides echo that. All of our tour managers are employees of Collette. They are not subcontracted out. And you're going to have a local, the tour managers are all from the areas that we tour. You're not going to have someone from, you know, San Diego accompanying you and telling you about Costa Rica, because, you know, locals aren't going, the people from San Diego aren't going to know everything about Costa Rica. So the Costa Ricans are going to be the ones who are going to be your tour guides, who are going to be showing you their amazing country because they're proud of where they live, and they want to show you those special moments and give you that special information description that's going to really make the tour special to you and explain the various flora and fauna that you're going to see and what makes the areas so special to them. And they convey that through their excitement and the passion that they have. Our tour managers, several of our tour managers have been with Collette for, some of them, 40, 50 years, because they've been doing this since straight out of college, because they love showing off the pride of their country and things to others, because the goal of travel is to form a connection with other people. When I travel, people make fun of me. I say I'm so excited for the friends I haven't met yet. Yeah. And I think that really echoes in our tours. I feel like the world is an amazing place, and there's so much out there that brings us together than what separates us, and our tour managers really echo that. So you're going to have a local who's going to be teaching you and getting you the tour around their country.
You know, and the amazing thing about this, for people that haven't done a tour, a guided tour before, is, you know, before I started going on trips like this, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to plan my own trip.
Right.
I'm going to look into all the places I want to go, and, you know, I'll do my thing.
But
right?
Guess what? You'll miss something.
Well,
a lot of things maybe.
The little things, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, even from point A to point B, you know, there's things. I mean, you know, you just mentioned, Jonathan, oh, you know, we're not going to take a person from San Diego to be a tour guide in Costa Rica. And it's because, you know, if somebody comes to San Diego, while we're driving, I can tell them, oh, you see that over there? That is this building and blah, blah, blah. The reason why I grew up here. I know this. This is,
right,
you know, little tidbits of the city that I've learned over the years where like normal people that are just here on vacation might not even look twice at that building or that park or whatever it is. And the tour guys have that insight from being there year after year.
It's much more than the obvious landmarks that you would see.
Exactly. They're not there to talk about the coffee plantation. I'm sure they can,
right,
but the coffee plantation is going to speak for itself. They're there to kind of talk to you about where you're staying, the food, different places to eat while you're out and about.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. The value behind that is something that you can't get on your own, just Googling your Costa Rican trip. So it's really amazing that, you know, being on these trips, you get to see all that. Now, you know, Jonathan, this is a pretty solid trip as far as many days out and about. Like I said, we travel from one part of Costa Rica to the next. Again, from stop to stop, the tour guide's there to help along the whole way, as far as like checking in, checking out, you know, making sure you're on the correct bus, the right bus at the right time, right? They're kind of coordinating all that.
Yes, your tour manager will meet you on night one. You know, we hold your hand, getting you even to and from the airport, getting you there, and then someone's waiting at the airport to bring you to your hotel. On night one, you'll meet your fellow travelers and have a welcome dinner and meet your tour manager, who's going to tell you everything that you have to look forward to. And Tiger, in regards to what you were saying about, you know, when you're driving, even when you're on the coach going from point A to point B, your tour manager is going to be there talking to you while you're on the coach, telling you anything of importance to see, explaining things along the way. So it's a really all-encompassing experience when it comes to the culture of and the places that you're going with these tour managers, because they're going to want to make everything for you special for you as you're driving, to explain things to you that they find important. So it's a really great experience. And yes, we hold your hand pretty much the entire time. No one's going to be getting lost. A great story I can share.
Hey, Jonathan, real quick before we get into that story, we do have to pause for a break. When we get back, I want to hear this story real bad. So we'll be right back with Jonathan with Collette Travel.
And his story from Collette Travel. Garden America continues after these messages for our good friends on Biz Talk Radio. We are back from the break, and for those of you on Biz Talk Radio, this is the final segment of hour number one. You've got news coming up top of the hour. We come back at 6 minutes after. If your market does indeed carry us, we are on for 2 hours. We continue our conversation. By the way, this is Garden America, continuing a conversation with Jonathan from Collette Travel. We're talking about the trip to Costa Rica. Many people, just up until this point in time now of the show, I can see more and more interest on Facebook Live, Tiger, as we continue with Jonathan.
Yeah, and right before the break, we cut Jonathan off before he was going to tell us a story about, something that happened on one of the tours, Jonathan?
Yeah, just continuing our discussion with the tour managers and how important they can be. My father is he's an academic and a pretty aloof guy sometimes, and they were at the Vatican, and my father wanted to try and find a restroom. He's in St. Peter's Basilica, and he managed to stumble down the wrong hallway and trying to find a restroom, and had 3 Swiss guardmen pretty much accost him because he was in a restricted area, and the tour manager was able to intervene and help my dad out and show him to where the correct place to go. So again, as not trying to create an international incident, but the tour managers are going to be there to help you out and make sure that you explore the correct areas and hold your hand through the entire process.
And that you're so right, because I think for a lot of people, they have that fear of traveling, to a different place, different language, but these tour guides speak the language, so if anything does happen along the trip, they can easily, talk about it, explain it to you as a tourist, saying, hey, this is what you need to do. This is why, they're talking to you. And then explain to them, hey, sorry, we stepped into the wrong spot.
John, do you want to take that question?
We have a few questions for you, Jonathan. By the way, Tiger, if I'm speaking binomial nomenclature on the trip, you'll translate for me, correct?
No.
Jonathan, Carla from Huntington Beach says that she realizes on a group tour you can't accommodate all needs, but she said some people that have special dietary needs may be leery of going. Like if someone is a diabetic or has other restrictions, is there any accommodation for those people?
Most definitely. Prior to the tour, on your sign-up, we ask for any type of dietary restrictions and accommodations. Now, of course, we cannot control all circumstances, but we will do our best to do so. Your tour manager will be notified of any specific dietary requirements. We have lots of travelers that are vegan, pescatarian, vegetarian, et cetera, that go on our tours, and we're able to accommodate them just fine. During your dietary restrictions will be made known to the tour manager, and we'll do the best we can to accommodate you.
And I will say, for traveling, Costa Rica, if you have dietary restrictions, is probably one of the places that is most accommodating. Because, already they're very fresh fruit, fresh everything, no preservatives. A lot of places are already kind of vegetarian or vegan restaurants.
What you're saying is the banana you're eating was picked 5 minutes ago.
From the tree behind you.
Behind you, yeah.
Exactly. So it's a very easy place to have restrictions.
John?
And I should tell Carla my wife is going with us, and she's a diabetic, so she will have to be watching her food choices also. Kevin wants to know what airline, if you may not know this, Jonathan, but is going to fly us to Costa Rica from San Diego.
So Collette uses all mainline carriers. You're not going to be put on some carrier you've never heard of. They're going to be probably, American, Delta, United. We try with our air to make it as least agonizing as possible. That's what I call it. So we try to prioritize direct flights where at all possible. If you do have to have a connection, we give you plenty of time to make your next connection. If anything goes wrong on the flight, your flight is delayed, your flight is canceled, something happens, our air team is staffed 24/7, and we are there monitoring the situation the entire way, and we'll get you to where you need to go. So again, it comes back to that holding your hand and making sure that we're getting you to where you're going, and we stay on top of that throughout the whole process.
Yeah, definitely recommend booking the air through Collette, because so many problems with airlines nowadays, cancellations, flight changes, all that kind of stuff.
That's what I had last night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
and
so hard
you were
to
on
keep
your
track
own.
of.
Yeah.
You didn't have Collette with you.
Highly recommend doing that, because then, like you say, Jonathan, push comes to shove, anything happens, it's like Colette's on it. They know the people to call, the people to talk to, the things they need to do to get it done. So
exactly, and it even starts even prior to you leaving. Collette here, we pick you up at your home and we'll bring you directly to the airport with our service if you purchase our air. And then getting home, right after baggage claim, you'll see a gentleman out there with your name on it, and there'll be someone waiting to whisk you back home right from the airport. So you don't have to worry about getting a taxi or Uber.
Yeah.
The last comment we have is from Dana, and she says that she'll go if she can see howler monkeys.
I think those are just out and about, to be honest with you. I think you'll just see those wherever you're staying. Yeah. I remember just being out there and at night, you just hear this noise happening. You're like, what's going on? So.
Well, you're actually in talking about the monkeys. There's actually on day 3 you're going to be going to another nature preserve called Cano Negro, and you're going to go down on a guided riverboat trip, and you'll have an opportunity to see a lot of the local wildlife, including monkeys, on that portion.
Have you ever been to Disneyland, Jonathan? Is this like the jungle
cruise?
Yes,
We're going to be
it's like the
watch
real
out for
version
the
of Jungle
hippopotamus. This is amazing.
Yeah. The more we talk to Jonathan, the more like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. Let's leave tomorrow.
Hey, there was one detail. I'm sure you were going to get to this anyway, Tiger. But I was looking at the itinerary and the signups, and I know that there's an early sign-up discount, but it's over next month, right?
Yeah, you've got to sign up by October, right, Jonathan, to get the discount?
That is correct.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about this trip, is it October 1 that is the discounted?
I think it's like mid-October.
Is it
right?
mid-October?
I'm not sure.
All right, we'll look into that and make sure we post that information and
Right.
get it pushed out because, yeah, if you sign up before then, there's a discount. And people can sign up until when? Because the trip is in April, Jonathan. So when do we kind of close the trip?
Well, we really try to get people to sign up about 6 months prior to departure, and that's why we have that discount.
Okay.
And to answer your question in regards to the discount, it's by October 21st.
Oh, okay, that's good.
After that, and the reason why that is because, again, it's the airlines world, and we all just live in it, and our group discounted airfare with the airlines is reserved 6 months prior. After that, the airlines want the space back, so we have to acquiesce and give it to them. The final payment for this trip, I believe we give you plenty of time. It's only due 2 months prior to departure. So final payment for this is due February 21st of next year.
Awesome. Hey, Jonathan, we got to take another break. When we get back, we'll wrap up chatting with Jonathan with Collette Travel.
Right, and do stay with us as we approach the top of the hour for our friends on Biz Talk Radio for this pre-recorded show. We will continue our conversation with Jonathan from Collette Travel talking about Costa Rica in April of 2024 with Garden America. Stay with us. I'm Brian Main, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox. Welcome back to Garden America after the news break and our many sponsors on Biz Talk Radio, those on Facebook Live. We do appreciate it. Along with Tiger Palafox, John Begnasco, I'm Brian Main. Welcome back to Garden America. Looking at Facebook Live, a lot of people tuned in this morning, a lot of interest about Costa Rica, April 2024. And we're talking with Jonathan from Collette, answering your questions. And John, we read a question during the break. Maybe you want to pose that to Jonathan.
Well, we have people interested in traveling with us from all over the country, and some are from towns smaller than San Diego.
Small little out-of-the-way places.
Right, and Darlene is from Oroville, and she wants to know, she said, will you pick me up in Oroville and return me home after the trip? And I'm not sure how that works in the smaller trips.
What about that, Jonathan?
So, yes, I was going to let you guys know and your listeners that if you live outside the San Diego area, near or closer to another air gateway, we'll be happy to pick you up and bring you to a closer airport other than San Diego. Yeah. The pricing might differ slightly, but during the sign-up process, all you have to do is say you'd like to leave from another airport other than San Diego, and we'll be happy to price that out and get you picked up and brought to that airport that might be closer to you than ours.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? If you're in a city closer to San Francisco or Los Angeles, right, they're going to pick you up and take you to one of those major hubs and rather than get you to San Diego.
Just quickly, because this is kind of important, Kevin wants to know, he just assumes you need a U.S. passport in order to go. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct. At Collette, we recommend that you have a 8-month buffer between when your passport expires. The reason why is that several countries can deny you admittance even with 6 months left. So we recommend that you have at least 8 months.
Wow.
I would just, if your passport is going to be expiring in the next year, I would just renew it whenever you can. You don't have to wait for it to expire in order to renew it early. There is probably about a 6-week time frame to get your passport renewed. I did mine a few months ago, and I got it back in about a month. So the quicker you can do it, the better off you'll be.
Good advice.
And renewing your passport is way easier than getting a new one.
Oh, good.
Meaning like to renew a passport, you just send in the paperwork, you renew the passport, blah blah blah. To get a new one, that's
now you say send in the paperwork. You could go someplace physically though, right, and do
right.
that. Like
you could do it physically, or
okay.
I think they offer the renewals online now.
Oh, that's even better. Is that right, Jonathan? Online with the passports?
Yeah, you can go to state.gov, and there was originally a pilot project to renew online, and I think it's expanded nationwide now, so you can renew online. Of course, doing it the first time is a much more arduous process.
Yeah.
You have to either make an appointment at a local passport center or send in the paperwork that you can pick up at your local post office. If you are doing it for the first time, I would estimate probably 3 months because they are pretty backed up.
And those that live in California have that California Real ID. That should make things a bit simpler for traveling in terms of airports, so on and so forth, right, Jonathan?
Yes, the Real ID Act has been kicked down the road yet again until 2025 for domestic travel, but the Real ID does help a little bit more and lubricate the process, so to speak, with getting a passport.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, this trip, we're really looking forward to it. Lots of fun stuff, it looks like, planned. We really can't wait. So, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you for sharing all the information. We will post on our website and on our Facebook more information on how to get signed up for the tour.
Right.
Our sign up is right there on our website as well, but we'll make sure to share that with everybody. Jonathan, thank you very much, and you take care.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. A lot of great information. And I know that we've maybe kickstarted some people in terms of those that were contemplating whether or not to go. And I notice here, Darlene, you can go to our website, gardenamerica.com. The entire itinerary is there. And any other questions you have, you can let us know. But gardenamerica.com for the itinerary, right, John?
Yeah, and if she wanted to know if there was something on paper that she could actually hold, and I think Tiger,
I have some.
You have that, right?
Yeah.
And Darlene, if you send me your address, send a note to john@gardenamerica.com. Send me an email. I'll pass it on to Tiger, and we can mail that off to you.
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll do the best we can in terms of holding your hand until we pass you off to Collette on the trip, and they can hold your hand. But we'll do our best here before the trip to answer questions or at least point you in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
It's better than the Beatles when they started, as far as holding hands, right?
They did a good job of holding hands, but I think we're going to do a better job in terms of that. And again, Jonathan only touched on just a few things and points of interest that we're going to be seeing in Costa Rica. And the benefit of a company like Collette compared to going yourself, you can find out some of the main attractions or some of the things to see, but we're going to see the little things in between that you would never even know to ask about on trips like this.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the example of San Diego, I mean, John living in Fallbrook, as you drive through Fallbrook, he's going to point out little things that you would have never thought to even look for or know about the area. And, I always find that's the cool stuff when you're on a trip is, this restaurant is known for this. And,
right.
I mean, an example of that, and this isn't in San Diego, but in Tijuana, in TJ, Mexico, there's a restaurant, and that's the restaurant that created the Caesar salad. It's kind of a neat little thing. For those of you that are from San Diego, you learn this,
back
know
in the
that.
50s, I think.
Yeah. And it's like kind of neat. I mean, everybody has a Caesar salad nowadays. You wonder where it came from? That's where it came from.
When you go on a vacation, there are the obvious things. You go to Paris, you're going to see the Eiffel Tower. Okay, we get it.
Yeah.
But there are 100 other things that you may not know about.
Yeah.
That travel companies like Collette can help you with. Now, John, we went to Europe in 2015 with Collette the first time around, and we ended up in places we never would have thought of going.
Well, not only that, Tiger had mentioned about how good the tour guides were. And frequently, you don't know what you're looking at until somebody tells you. And one of the things that I'll never forget is when we were in the Vatican, and somebody happened to ask the question, who did all the paintings in here? And the tour guy said, there's no paintings in the Vatican. In St. Peter's, I should say.
Right.
We were in
Peter's
St.
Basilica?
Peter's. And they go, well, what's all over the ceiling? And she said, those are mosaics.
Yeah.
And how would you know that?
How
Because
would
they
you know
looked
that?
exactly like
Right.
paintings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Costa Rica, April 20th through the 29th, 2024.
Sign up. Go to gardenamerica.com.
GardenAmerica.com. That itinerary, it shows everything. Also, if you get the newsletter, John, the newsletter is
links.
Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's links.
There's links everywhere to go with
Lila
us.
wants to know, Tiger, if we're visiting gardens.
Yes, through the whole trip. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's garden
The whole
oriented.
country's a garden,
Yeah,
right?
you're so right. You mean pretty much, and as you know, Dana's comment about will I see howler monkeys? It's like, of
course you
you
will.
will, because through Costa Rica, as Jonathan mentioned, the whole country is a preserve. So as you're going, whether you're staying in a hotel or whether you're driving or whether you're at a preserve or at a beach, a lot of it's very much wild, and you're going to see native flora and fauna through the whole trip. We're going to see, big open space gardens. We're going to see, small little gardens around the properties of the hotels that we're at.
Was there an orchid garden?
In the
Yes.
in the Monteverde Preserve, there is an orchid garden that we will be going to go
And
see.
I think some of the howler monkeys also provide room service. So you will see howler monkeys
Yeah.
when you hear that knock at the door.
Yeah. So, we're going to do our best to make sure to show off as much as we can about gardening, since this is Garden America. But
Sure.
the whole trip will be very much plant-based because of just the location that we'll be in.
And I guess some of your food might be plant-based as well if you had
Very
special
much.
dietary needs.
Yeah. Oh.
I just got back from the Grand Tetons
And
in
beautiful
Yosemite.
pictures, John.
And, after we were there for just a week, but you're happy to get home, and the air smells different at
Right,
home and stuff
right.
like that. And I just want to, especially only 4 hours sleep last night, I want to get home and rest a little bit. But after talking to Jonathan, I'm excited about
Go on a
leaving.
trip again?
Yeah.
I know it does. It gives you a little spark. It's like, I know we're planning on going, but wow, it's going to be that good?
Yeah.
And we have people that have been there before that are returning. Tiger, you're
This
a
is
good
Tiger's
example.
third trip.
Third trip. Well, it's going to be a charm
I'd
then.
go again.
It's
I
going to
would
be
go
a
again.
charm.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
in fact, I think we're going to split off, and Tiger's going to be a tour guide with some of the other people as well because of your knowledge of Costa Rica. We have to take a break. Once again, got to stay on time for our friends at the network on Biz Talk Radio. Do stay with us. Facebook Live, Biz Talk Radio. Any more questions? Tiger, you have to leave, right?
Yeah, I've got to
soon.
head out.
So Tiger's going to head out. It'll be
Yeah.
John and myself for the rest of the show. So do stay with us as we take a break for Biz Talk Radio.
All right.
Okay, we are back from the break. Tiger is going to soccer with his son Isaac and will be for the next couple of weeks. We should mention, John, I hate to say this because we were off last week, but because of personal commitments, we're going to be off for the next couple of weeks, right?
We are off the next couple of weeks.
Unavoidable. We don't like to, take a week off and come back and take more time
it might
off.
have been avoidable, but it's too late now.
Logistically, yeah.
Yeah.
So do know that, and we'll remind you again. But you're invited to visit our website. In fact, we'd love it when you visit our website. It does help us in terms of just the analytics and people and traffic to our website. And you can also go to our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show, and you can watch any show you want, previous shows from the last couple of 2 or 3 years or so. Any more questions, John, regarding Costa Rica that we can answer?
Oh, I thought you were asking me if I had questions for you.
Well, maybe you do have a question.
Carla wants to know if Tiger's going to be surfing.
He is, but I think he's going to rent a surfboard. He's not going to bring it with him, but he does have that capability. I asked him the same thing.
Some people are going to go if they can watch Tiger surf.
No, there you go. There's another incentive.
Speaking of surfing, I told you this story during the break when or before the show started. I was not aware of wake boats.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
And you were on a lake, weren't you?
We were on a lake, and my son had been telling me, who lives on a lake in Indianapolis, told me that a lot of people there were complaining about the wake boats because they create wakes that are so huge you can surf on those wakes. I mean, you don't even, it's not like skiing where you hold onto a rope. You actually are on a surfboard and you just follow wherever this boat is going. So we were on this lake, and my son pointed out, there's the wake boats that I was talking about. And you could see someone surfing behind this boat that was creating this huge wake.
And there's no rope. They're just following the wake of the boat.
Right. And we were on a pontoon boat nearby. And the wake was so huge that as it came to the pontoon, I was in the front of it. The pontoon dipped down, and this huge tidal wave crashed over the front of the pontoon, and it knocked me to the floor, and I was 100% drenched from top to bottom.
So you can surf behind those wake boats.
You can surf, but don't follow one on a pontoon boat.
So there you go. Good advice from John Begnasco. So it is always nice getting home after vacation. You're back, you're settled, but you didn't get any sleep. So
now my sister commented on Facebook.
She's still laughing.
I'm still laughing. She was sitting right next to me. You know what?
And she avoided getting drenched, or she must have gotten wet.
Part of her was wet, but I kind of wonder if I felt this little hand on my back pushing me down, like out of the way, like into the water, so she could escape.
And you didn't see the wave coming?
She said no, so I'll take her word for it that didn't happen.
You didn't see the wave coming? It took you by surprise, or?
No, I certainly did not see it coming.
Wow! But even if you did,
well, I could have run to the back of the boat. My son,
okay, I see. Yeah,
my son Joe was I think sitting next to my sister. He saw the wave. He just casually stood up, walked to the other end of the boat.
Yeah, what's the big deal? What's the big deal?
It was one of those things in life where you wonder what just happened.
Right. And I have another story to tell.
It took 3 days for my wallet to dry out. My shoes were dry the next day though, so that was good.
And what was the temperature outdoors this time of year?
It was probably low 70s.
Oh, that's
the whole
good
time.
though.
It was perfect weather. The weather could not have been any nicer.
And expecting snow, of course, in a couple of weeks.
Well, that was at the Grand Tetons. Yeah, they were talking about snow.
Wow. All right.
And I guess they're used to it. You know, there was fly fishing. One of the rivers we were by was supposed to be the greatest fly fishing in the world. But so people are fishing the rivers everywhere. But we were at, I think, Jenny Lake in the, I'm trying to think of where that was. But anyway, it might have been the Grand Tetons. We were at Jenny Lake, and there's a river there that has a sign on it that says no fishing from November 1st until July 31st.
It's a long time.
Well, I'm thinking, so it's just August and
7 months, right?
Yeah, no fishing that whole period.
Wow.
Oh, well.
But you're going to get home, you're going to rest today, and then it's back out in the garden because nobody was at your house taking care of anything, were they?
No, but Tiger did set up the irrigation so that I could program, and I know how to program the timers.
And it was working while you were gone.
Well, I don't know because it was dark when I came in
right.
this morning.
That's
So when I get home, I'll see. I have a hunch that it was okay, but we'll see. You had mentioned that you could have gone and checked the watering for me, but it's too late now.
It's too late now, yeah. And you got a hose out there, too, so if it wasn't working, it's going back to the old hose and 1,500 roses.
Yeah, I think that what it would have been was maybe spot watering, like if the irrigation didn't hit a particular area.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So let's see. We're getting into. I was surprised. My sister and I stopped in a couple nurseries. I think in Montana, and everything was, like half price.
We're getting
rid of this.
Shop, basically getting ready for winter.
Yeah, there's really not
See, it's
much
different.
to
You
do
brought
up
some
there.
seeds back, right? Can we talk about that publicly?
Well, Big Sky, Montana.
Big Sky State, Big Sky Country.
Yeah. I never really thought of it. The skies were huge.
Yeah, the skies are bigger up there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why.
More room.
We don't have
city traffic, skyscrapers.
We don't have as much. Yeah, that's what I heard, is that the uninterrupted skyline makes the sky seem bigger. But even at night, the stars that you could see.
Oh, the Milky Way?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we saw the Big Dipper, and
Yeah.
looked really nice.
Now, Kim is asking if all of our tours out of the country are with Collette. Not all of them.
We also use Earthbound
Expeditions
Right.
is another one,
Right.
which we've used. Both great companies. You can't go wrong with either company.
Right. The ones that we do with Earthbound are a little more costly because
They tailor the trip.
there's a lot that goes into those.
Right.
And that's why we picked this tour with Collette for Costa Rica, because it's really affordable.
Right. We want it to be affordable for almost everybody, a little less
Yeah.
inexpensive, and you're still going to see everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great trip coming up in April. Again, go to our website, gardenamerica.com, and check out the entire itinerary, and make sure your passports are up to date. Oh, I see what she's saying.
Oh, she wanted to know Kim wants to know if all of our tours are out of the country. And no, they're not always out of the
No.
country. It's been a while since we've done
Right.
one in the U.S., but Tiger's been wanting to do that.
Right, something within the country.
Right, and after coming back from Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, I'm kind of wondering if maybe we may want to set something up there. Maybe
what?
like a spring, not this spring, but maybe the following year, a spring
I would do
tour.
that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. We have to take a break. We have 2 more segments coming up. So whatever's on your mind, gardening-wise, Costa Rica, whatever, Tiger is off for the rest of the show. It's John still going with Bagnasco, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna use
Bagnasco.
that name.
I'll
It's
use
on
Brian
my,
Main.
It's on my driver's license
change
and
now.
my passport.
We're going to take a break. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Back from the break as the show keeps rolling along. John and Brian with you. And we do appreciate your comments on Facebook Live. We appreciate those tuned in on Biz Talk Radio as well. Those on Biz Talk Radio, anybody listening to us, perhaps you're listening to an Alexa podcast of Garden America, Google, Spotify, whatever, you can go to gardenamerica.com for all the information. And check out our website, too. A lot going on.
Okay, Veronica and Kim want to sign up for the tour in this country, so
Okay.
you can handle that.
I like your idea, though, John, about maybe Yellowstone or someplace like that.
I think I'd like to do it in the spring.
See, now you've done it, and you want to do it again.
Right.
It must.
But the time of year, I think, would make a difference,
Springtime.
because I think it would be more to see from a gardening point of view.
Okay.
I mean, the views were spectacular everywhere we went, and fall has its own charm to it. The leaves were just starting to change color in the Tetons.
So all the leaves were brown, but the sky was blue, right? I think that's what you're trying to say.
You know what? I saw a picture of online, and now you're getting me off topic.
Yeah, we
here.
always go off topic.
But somebody had a picture of a Subway store. Subway sandwich.
Right.
And on the side of the building, there's the Subway sign, and underneath it, on the side of the building, it said, "The words of the prophets." I thought that's
See, now that's
hilarious.
good.
Yeah.
That's all they had to say.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yes, Veronica, we will plan some tours in this country, and stay tuned. A lot happening in the future here with Garden America.
Yeah. Carla pointed out that spring is July up in
I see. Yeah,
in Yellowstone.
that makes sense. Okay.
So, and that's I don't know about July, but certainly the end of June, right? Into July. But my point there is that we would get to see wildflowers
Sure.
blooming, which we won't. Well, I didn't get to see, but there were fall blooming wildflowers too.
But I think you're right. Spring would be the perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Animals are all having fun that time of year.
having fun. It's all
Yeah.
about animals having fun and invading their privacy. All right, so back in your garden, we're heading into October. San Diego.
Can you believe it's October already?
It's ridiculous, right? But October in San Diego is different than October in some place that snows.
Where it's getting ready to snow in 2 weeks.
Right. We can still garden. And
they were really happy that the weather was so nice, because they know it's just you snap your fingers and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of snow up there. I saw pictures of trees covered with snow. So I don't know how you would drive in those mountains with the snow.
Yeah, very carefully.
The chains and everything like that. But definitely a good trip. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Tigers, for the last couple of years, has been talking about doing something.
Yeah, something within the
US.
country, close. A trip where you don't need a passport.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're driving at, right? So, yes, stay tuned for that as well. But next spring, we're going to be in Costa Rica.
Right.
For those that can make it.
Yeah, I think Carla might have been trying to point out that, yeah, you can do Costa Rica in April and you still hit spring in July.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, exactly. So what are you going to be doing now, John, in your garden? What's going on as we head into autumn, winter, fall, or fall, winter, autumn?
I've got so much because I'm still landscaping, right? And then I think we're going to put in a lawn in November when the weather's really cool.
You're going to seed it, right? Not sod it?
No, I think we're going to sod.
You're going to sod? Okay.
Yeah.
Quicker, more expensive, right?
It is quicker. It's overnight, and it's more expensive. I don't know if it's a lot more expensive than seed. I think Tiger mentioned the price of sod has gone up quite a bit. But by the time you amend the soil, put out fertilizer, plant the seed, get rid of the weeds, throw more seed in the spots that didn't come up, I don't know if it's that much more expensive.
Sod is certainly easier.
And I don't have a huge area to do. The only area I would put in sod would be just a little spot behind
the house. Go to bed at night with no grass, wake up the next day with grass.
Well,
aren't they going to work all night?
Yeah, I was going to say they usually don't work during the night. You do you have to transplant anything? You usually transplant in the spring.
Yeah,
I don't think you transplant anything in the fall.
Yeah, the one thing I did have to do, because I moved a lot of my plants in the front, right outside our door, is I've got a palm that I saved about 6 months ago. I transplanted it. I fed it. It's got a nice big pot, and the thing just took off. Well, it took over the front door area. So last night I went out. I had to rearrange all the plants because everything's out of control. To quote our good buddy up in Simi Valley, Steve in Simi Valley, everything is always out of control. So everything is thriving. Yes, I managed to move the plants around to give them a better area and a better space. And who to thunk, living in San Diego, you do that. Someplace else, they're getting ready for fall, autumn, winter.
When we left to go to Yellowstone, I put everything, I had the irrigation set up so it would water all the plants that were outside, except we had plants that were in pots on the porch. And how would those get watered? So what we did was I watered them really good in the morning before we left, and then we brought them in the house. And I guess I'll see what they look like. Last night I was too tired.
Move them to an area where the irrigation is happening?
Well, I did with some, but some were shade plants. And I couldn't move the shade plants out into the full sun because they'd probably burn, especially as it turned out where there were 2 days of over 90-degree temperatures after I left.
Wow.
Then it went back down into the 70s.
Tanya wants to see photos of my porch/patio.
You've posted those before.
I will do some updates. It's not a huge area, but it might be a good example of what you can do in a smaller area with the sidewalk leading up to the front door, and then, of course, the patio itself, which over the years I've thinned out. Not as many plants on the patio because you couldn't even walk. So I've split that up now between the front and the patio. So will do, Tanya. Thank you for that.
Veronica says that she has a rose in a broken pot. She has to replant it. She wants to know the do's and don'ts.
About transplanting a rose?
Yeah.
Do you really have to worry about shock so much with roses? I haven't had that
No,
problem.
but the don'ts would be don't use anything other than a good potting soil.
Absolutely.
To add new soil. I find with roses the best are some of the Forest Farms potting soils.
Right.
Because they don't stay too wet.
You say Fox Farms? You said Forest Farms, I think.
Oh, did I?
I don't know. Thought I heard Fox and Forest. Fox Farms is the company, right?
Right.
Okay.
If they advertised with us, I would get their name correct.
Exactly. So if you're listening, somebody from Fox Farms, we'd appreciate that. That
Right. I think
would
I
be
may have
nice.
been confused because they have two soils. One is ocean forest, which I think is their top of the
Right.
line soil. And then the other's happy frog, which I use just because it's less expensive and I need so much of it.
And it's good. It's still a good soil.
Yeah, they're both really good. The main difference is the ocean forest has more organic fertilizer to it.
So Veronica's saying what, no fertilizer? I would like to when I transplant, I fertilize.
Well, if you are using the ocean forest potting soil, Veronica, no fertilizer.
You don't need. It's got almost everything you would need.
It's got everything you need until spring.
Yeah.
So no, if you're, I'm trying to think this time of year, if you haven't fertilized at all, you might add a little bit of fertilizer. But if the rose was fertilized up to this point,
You don't need to.
I wouldn't, because we're going into fall. The roses, I'm assuming, will go dormant in a couple months.
Like Kevin says, that we put on our snowshoes and just walk around the yard in winter for fun and exercise. Cheap thrills here in Idaho. Winter lasted 6 months.
Let's see. Well, Kevin,
Snowshoes, that's like putting tennis rackets on your shoes, right?
he's in the colder part
Yeah,
of
he is.
Idaho, right? Isn't he in Coeur d'Alene?
I believe so, right, Kevin?
Coeur d'Alene is, I've never been to Coeur d'Alene, and I really would like to go because Idaho is just a beautiful state. There's so much going on. You thought all they had was potatoes, right? They've got things besides potatoes.
I had
there.
no idea. No idea.
The being in Yellowstone with the hot springs and the geysers and things, you don't realize how much geothermal activities going on in
Right,
the area.
underneath you.
Right, and my daughter lives outside of Boise in Meridian, and they have hot springs over there from, all the way. I don't know if it's part of the Yellowstone thing, but that whole area is kind of active.
You would think it's almost part of that whole volcanic area. That Wyoming, Idaho, Montana. I think so.
I was surprised at how unpopulated Wyoming is.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more least populated states,
I think there's less than 500,000 people in the whole state.
which includes my son and his wife in Wyoming.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to take a break. We have, if my calculations are correct, one more segment here on Garden America, so do stay with us. A break now for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. All righty, welcome back to Garden America. We thank you for tuning in on Biz Talk Radio, supporting our sponsors, Fertilome, and of course, Root Warrior. Go to plantwarrior.com and check out their products. We've talked about them before. We've had them on the air. They are good people and a good product.
Kevin points out it's time to plant garlic in Coeur d'Alene.
And rhubarb too, right?
And he said rhubarb does great there. San Diego's a little bit too warm for great rhubarb, even though you can grow it here. But cold areas like that, rhubarb does really well. But it's time really for, even in Southern California, time to plant garlic. And there's a lot of websites that have dozens and dozens of varieties.
You ever grown garlic?
I have grown garlic.
Oh. Do you now grow garlic?
No. Nope, I can't eat garlic.
Well, that's like telling a baby he can't have milk.
Can't eat garlic or onions.
My two favorites.
Really?
Put garlic and onions and a little butter in a pan, turn the gas on. I'm there. Are you kidding me? That's a shame, John.
Maybe someday soon. Let's see. Carla wants to know if the imposter rose can be propagated from cuttings. Yes, it can, Carla. And maybe next time we come in.
We haven't talked about the imposter rose for years.
I know, and I need one. But I'm thinking next time we come in, maybe I'll bring that little setup we talked about, the little greenhouse that I stuck the rose cuttings in.
Yeah.
And they're all doing really
right.
well. But Carla says she has to move it, and she's afraid of losing the rose because you can't really buy it anymore. But I wouldn't be afraid if you wait until December. If you need to move a rose and you can wait until December, which is dormant season, I mean, all the roses you buy in stores are roses that have been dug up in the fields, either in Wasco or in Arizona. They bare root them and then ship them out to nurseries and stores. So wait till then. I would say it's like 99.9% chance of being successful if you move a rose that time of year.
When they're dormant.
Right. In San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're listening to us in Coeur d'Alene, wondering how you're going to dig in frozen soil
No.
in December, it's not going to work. Okay, what is Tanya said? She was up most of the night because the restaurant put garlic in her dinner, even though she said no garlic. She's so tired. Same thing with me. You know, I developed a taste disorder 6 years ago now, 6 years ago. And I think it was almost 5 years I couldn't eat any meat at all. And now I'm to the point where I can eat meat, but I still can't eat certain things. And garlic and onions is one of them. Anything that's near garlic and onions, same thing as Tanya. I'll be up all night. I have a stomach ache. It just horrible taste in my mouth for a whole day.
But now, can you at this point? Can you taste garlic and onion? Because I know you lost your taste for some foods.
Well, I can tell they're disgusting.
Gosh, so
I mean, horrible.
Okay, so it's not a matter of you
it's
can't
like
taste.
turpentine.
It's the taste has changed from what used to be good now is no good.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like the way you said a taste disorder.
Yeah.
So what? I mean,
why even live, right?
Are you a hard guy to cook for?
No, I just
know what you can eat and can't eat.
I might be a hard guy to cook for if someone had to cook for me, but I just do my own stuff. I have to admit, though, that my daughter-in-law on our trip made allowances for what I could eat and actually went out of her way to make things a little different for me. And the cooking was phenomenal the whole trip.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that question we had about dietary requirements in Costa Rica, you would be one of those people. To some degree?
Maybe. But like Tiger said, I can eat all kinds of fruits.
Sure. And they're going to be everywhere.
Not all vegetables, but a lot of fruits. I can eat any meat now. My son made great cheeseburgers on the trip.
Beautiful. Back to eating meat.
Can't wait to have a cheeseburger in paradise.
Well, yeah, rest in peace, right?
Yeah.
Like cilantro tasting like soap.
You know, cilantro, there's some edibles out there that certain groups of people can't eat. Cilantro is one of the main ones. You either love cilantro or you hate it.
That's what I hear. I love it.
Yeah. See, I even when I had good taste,
you didn't like it.
No, I didn't like cilantro.
I grew cilantro in the veggie pod for a couple of years. And did quite well.
And most of my kids don't like cilantro.
It was passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, it could be. And there's certain people of Mediterranean descent that cannot eat fava beans because they're, the word poisonous to them might be too strong, but it goes in that direction. So, same type of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of foods that are out there like that.
We've got a couple of minutes to go here. Lisa loves cilantro.
Right.
Veronica is comparing
cilantro to gasoline.
Although I like the smell of gasoline. I always have.
You know, my wife does too.
Yeah.
Before we were married, and even after we were married, she'd love to go to my parents' house because we would go in the side door through the garage. She could smell the gasoline in the garage.
Come on, catch up. I'll be right there, John.
Yeah.
Give me a couple of minutes with the gasoline here.
So anyway, I'm going to go home today, try to get things in order. You know, I grouped a lot of plants together so they were under the irrigation, under the sprinklers to make sure they're wet. Now I got to space them out again. I imagine a lot of weeds came up while I was gone. The 2 days that it was 91 in Fallbrook were last Saturday and last Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, I think you're right.
Yeah. Was it hot in Mira Mesa too?
It was very hot. But then we got a couple of days where you think it was, February or March.
Well, this whole week now, we're only going to be in the 70s,
I hope this is it.
which is perfect fall weather.
I hope this
We
is it.
still have Santa Ana's
I
coming
know.
up.
And October is notoriously hot
Yeah.
in Southern California. So I'm hoping so. Hey, that's going to do it. Tiger's off with his son Isaac at soccer. John, you go home and get some rest and then go
We'll
back
be back in
into the
3
garden.
weeks.
2 weeks. No, 3 weeks. You're right.
3
We're
weeks.
off
We'll
the
be
next
back
2
in
weeks.
3 weeks. But meantime, I'm still putting out newsletters.
Yep.
Send me your pictures. I know some people have sent me pictures.
Right.
I haven't been able to put them in
You
the
can
newsletter,
interact on
but
our
I will.
website. Go to our website, Costa Rica. Be thinking Costa Rica.
And they can call you if they just want to chit chat.
Yeah.
Your phone number is 7.
Absolutely. 555-655-5522. So that said, if you have friends or family that want to go to Costa Rica, hey, bring them along. For the entire crew, Tiger Palafox, John Begnasco, I'm Brian Main. Till next time, 3 weeks. Take care. This is Garden America. Be safe.